Welcome to Old Fashioned Finance, the podcast that mixes cocktails and high finance. I'm your host, Caleb Frankert, and I'm joined by my good friend and fellow money muddler, Jason Burnell.
Caleb, could a podcast about finance be entertaining?
Yep.
Awesome. And with alcohol. All right, let's mix it up.
Let's do it.
Yes.
All right, it's Friday.
I know.
Well, it's Wednesday if you're listening.
Yeah.
I don't know unless you saved it for Friday.
Yeah, whatever.
It's Friday for us.
It's Friday for
Darn
us. Deal with it.
Busy week, huh?
Yeah. I'm like, I had a couple really long like marathon appointments this week.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was good. I love helping people.
It's all right. No, it's good.
That's good.
Yeah, it's good to be drinking old fashions on the Old Fashioned Finance podcast. We don't do this a whole heck of a lot.
We need to do this more often.
Yeah,
so.
back to our roots, baby. It's really easy to make. I mean, there's that plus. We don't even have to think about it. We make these in our sleep, man.
Yes. I mean, I have a couple little variations that I like to do. So
we're gonna make a variation today. Yeah, exactly. So,
and this one we haven't done a lot of this.
No, I've made a few of these here at work.
Mm-hmm.
Not at home.
Yes,
just during the work at work. But I really like, even with this variation, there's many variations. So today, this is going to be kind of polarizing because I noticed at least my friends on social media have a lot of opinions about smoking whiskey.
Ooh.
We're doing smoked old fashions today.
We are.
And I might alienate some friends here by smoking some whiskey in here in our old fashions today. But you know what?
Deal with it.
Bring on the controversy. Yeah, I'd love to have a discussion. I don't have a strong opinion one way or the other. I will say I've liked the finished product. But
yeah. I mean, without getting ahead of ourselves too much here, I was like really surprised at what this did to the drink the first time I had a smoked old fashioned.
Yeah.
And you know,
was this the first that you had a smoked old fashioned here, or did you try one at the bar?
Yeah, it was the first time. Yeah. Okay. And so really it was like and granted, we're not making it like extra smoky.
No.
But I thought that the smoke would like penetrate down into the drink.
Yeah.
What it did is it shot out my nostrils, which is like hard to explain, but that's exactly what it
So I'm going by memory.
Yeah.
It doesn't, in my opinion, it hasn't affected the taste of the old fashioned.
Yeah, I thought
it's just the smell that you get along with it, which does affect taste, I guess.
Yeah, but I thought it would be like a smoky taste, like a burnt taste in the drink.
Yeah.
And so I'm gonna tell you, like, I've had like smoked meats and stuff like that when they overdo it.
Oh yeah.
Okay. And it's like, I can't do that.
Right.
Like you just rolled that piece of meat around in the campfire, not doing it.
I think that's the key. So if you're listening to this and you're going to mimic this at home, just remember it's a delicate smoking.
A dab will do you.
Yeah, you're right. No, I take this, I kind of go back to my experience with smoking meats at first, right? I think probably the first rack of ribs that I ever smoked on my Weber kettle grill, which I love. And I've got that down to a science now.
Right.
I made the mistake of throwing my hickory chunks on, right? And then when I noticed the smoke stopped rolling out, I added more hickory, right? Because you're smoking ribs after all.
Right, exactly.
Man, the ribs were dry. They were just overly smoky. It ruined it. And what I've noticed is you put that one big chunk in there and let it kind of just
do it
slowly burn, or you sprinkle some chips on there, and when it's done, it's done.
Right.
And you get just the right amount of smokiness in there, which is just a little bit. You just want a little bit.
So it's funny, like one of my first like job/internships, I worked for a company that was like based in Texas. And for Christmas, they got everybody smoked turkeys. And so we get this turkey home. I'm like all excited. I'm like, it literally tasted like it was like drugged through a campfire.
Yeah.
And everyone's like, oh, that turkey was so good. I'm like, no, it wasn't. I think they used an entire wood like tree, forest to smoke that thing. But
I hear that smoked turkey is awesome. So the smokier the better, right? I'm supposed to like this. So I like it.
I'm 90% sure that it went in the garbage can.
It's kind of how a lot of people are with whiskey, right? Like
yeah,
they taste whiskey and they're like, oh, my friends collect this, and I'm supposed to like this, right? This is really good. You can just tell me if you don't like it. Spit it out. It's okay. There's plenty of stuff out there to enjoy.
Right.
I think with all of this stuff, moderation.
You got to practice a little bit. Yeah, for sure.
Hey, let's see if you can.
I got this.
Do you have the butane with you?
We have a torch. Okay, so you got to have a torch. I got it to light. Yeah.
There you go. Okay.
So you have to it was like flip it over to the off, and then we have full power.
Okay, that's more than full power.
Oh
yeah, there's like a locker. Stay on lock.
Yeah, a locker on this thing. So yeah, so if you're playing at home, we bought a smoking kit.
Koozie smoked cocktail kit.
Koozie Smokers, Amazon.com special. It came with some wood chips, the screen and the seal, and a torch to do these drinks. Okay. And what kind of wood chips did it come with? And
we have apple, we have oak, we have pecan, and we have cherry.
And I don't feel like we're going to do apple today.
We're going to do apple because it's apple season.
Yeah. So have we done apple? I
have. I think I've tried everything but cherry.
Okay. Well, we're going to do apple.
Well, we'll do cherry and cherry season. So yeah, what this thing looks like is there's a wood ring that you can set a mesh screen in, and it's got a little divot so you can drop just a few wood chips.
The screen looks like something you put in your kitchen sink.
Yeah, it looks like one of those. It almost looks like a T-baller.
Yeah,
right?
Sure. Yeah.
So the wood chips don't get into your drink, but it rests on top of the glass. The wood creates somewhat of a seal. So we torch it. Let's go ahead and torch it. Jason, give it a torch for about get it good and. All right, now throw that lid on. There's a wood topper, okay? And count to 15.
Okay, we're doing it. We're doing the thing. So what do we talk about? We need some smoky waiting music, Bo.
I can smell it.
Yeah, so what it's doing is we got it hot. And you can see the smoke just coming out of the wood topper, really. And we're going to do it again. So we're making
really cool to see the smoke bouncing around in the glass between the top of the liquid and the wood cap. It just kind of...
Don't do it near your smoke detector.
Yeah. See it working in there, just kind of rolling out. And mine is still... You can see a little bit of wispy smoke coming off of it.
If you want to see what this looks like online, there's tons of really good videos. Now some bars do this over the top, they're putting a ton of smoke in there.
Yeah, they're smoking the heck out of it, and you can smell it when you walk in.
Right, exactly. Yeah. So, all right, let's try it. Let's do it. All right. We didn't go over the ingredients. What?
Oh, an old fashioned. 2 ounces of bourbon. We used ancient age. Which, by the way, I think is great for mixing. Ancient age might be kind of hard to find for some folks, but ancient age is readily available.
Yes.
And I'll tell you, it's a good mixer.
It is a good mixer.
It's a little bit, it's on the less potent side. Mm-hmm. It's probably 80 proof.
So they're saying this is potentially Blanton's that never became Blanton's.
Yeah, for whiskey nerds out there who stand in line for Blanton's or get on waiting lists, there are some rumors that ancient age is the whiskey that just didn't quite cut it to make it into a Blanton's bottle. I don't know whether that's true or not. It's a little bit higher proof. It makes a really good mixer. But we put a 1/4 ounce of simple syrup in, or you can do a sugar cube also.
Right.
2 or 3 dashes of Angostura bitters, and then I threw some orange bitters in there too.
That's just because we like them.
I think it's great in an old fashioned. And an orange peel. Yeah. So let's try it, Jason.
All right, here we go. Nope. Exact same thing happened as last time. Straight out my nose. The apple is coming right out of my nostrils. It's
Maybe
crazy.
I haven't tried apple before. That is different than one I tried.
That is unusual and really cool. It does make the drink significantly different.
Well, it takes a look. The old fashioned is classic.
We've practiced this one a lot.
Oh, absolutely.
We know what this is.
We can make these in our sleep. Sometimes I wake up in the middle of the night and I'm like, look, I have an old fashioned. Apparently I made it in my sleep. It is a very simple drink, but it's classy. And if you just want just a little bit of, you might be that guy that comes home from work, makes an old fashioned every night. This is a nice little twist. Just got an extra little something there.
Yeah, so the apple chips definitely made it sweeter. Okay. It's playing with my nose senses more than my tongue palate kind of taste.
Yes, definitely.
You don't feel it in your throat or anything. And all of that was things that I was fearful of when we got this.
Yeah.
I was like, man, I don't know. I think this could be a little
imagine
harsh.
if we would leave this on there longer, we would maybe run into that. But 10 to 15 seconds seems to be just about right.
I guess and maybe we should try that sometime, but
But I don't want to ruin an old fashioned.
Right. How could you possibly get that smoke to like really permeate down into the liquid? So the ones that I see online that they're doing under those giant beakers and, they're just billowing amounts of smoke. Maybe you have it in the liquid, but with what we've got going on here, I don't think so.
It's still lingering in my nose. Yeah. So I think here's the thing for whiskey drinkers, whiskey tasting. So much of your taste is involved in your nose. Mm-hmm. You should be smelling it while you're tasting it, kind of breathing in a little bit whenever you taste. Don't make it go down the wrong pipe. But so that's what I'm getting I'm breathing in when I'm tasting this, and I get the smell of the apple wood, but I'm getting all the taste of the old fashioned. It mixes really nice.
When you're tasting bourbon, a lot of times you're sipping it out of a Glencairn glass. Mm-hmm. A lot of times they tell you to smell it first, right?
Yeah.
And you're going to leave your mouth open.
Yeah.
I feel like that pathway between your mouth and your nose is critical, and actually being able to feel the full like bouquet of flavors inside of a
very nice.
Yeah, inside of a good bourbon. And we've learned, I mean, our palate's definitely changed in the last year. We
think they've gotten better. Maybe we've just gotten to be snooty. I
don't know. That's possible. Hey, this is the finance podcast.
We should get to it, shouldn't we? All right, Jason. Well, I will let you take it away then. What are we talking about today from a finance standpoint?
So you got a 1,000-page financial plan.
What is a financial plan,
yeah.
Right?
Yeah. So
we talk about it all the time, don't we?
Yeah. And you want to talk, maybe this is a topic where we are snooty. We are definitely snooty about this one because we take it really serious. So I think we get tons of preconceived notions, misconceptions around what a financial plan looks like. And I think we'll just dive right into it. The very first one is that it is like this 1,000-page document.
Well, yeah, I think that this is something that the financial industry has kind of pushed on consumers as almost like another product to buy, right? Like,
well, and in a certain sense, I think a lot of wealth management firms, banks, private banks have pushed this on their employees as like a tick mark, a sales goal.
Yeah.
And a lot of them are charging separate fees for these plans. So I think the industry has like created a product. And the product is a fancy binder with 1,000 pages that will never be looked at after the meeting.
It's almost like, here you go. I've done the work. Right? This is why you should trust me and believe in our process, because look at all this work I did. And then the client takes it home and goes, what am I going to do with this?
Yeah. And I hate that. I hate that part where it's like, is this something that is just trying to prove to the client how smart the financial advisor is? And I think that's probably where it gets really like disappointing when you're out there as a practitioner. We're two guys. We can only help so many people. We want good practitioners out in the marketplace. So, and a lot of times it's a tool that's used to sell some kind of specific product. And the one that I'm going to point to, I see a lot, is life insurance.
Yeah.
Like they do this like, personal planning analysis or, so-called financial plan. And it's like at the end, it's like, surprise, you need $1 million of whole life insurance. Now that ticks me off,
That really grinds my gears.
It does. And so to be controversial at all, like that is garbage. Throw it away and go find a real financial planner, quite frankly. Right?
Well, Jason, don't we all kind of call ourselves financial planners now?
Well,
yeah, everybody's a financial planner if you ask.
Yeah, another problem in our industry, it's not perfect. So, for us, I think we've had the best luck with the shorter the better.
Yeah.
I know that's like an action list, a to-do list seems to be like some of the best financial planning results that we've had.
Yeah.
A client walks out of here and is like, I got my things to do and we have our things to do. And we go do those things, and it turns out that they make progress.
Yeah, and that's the thing. It's deliverable. It's something that is achievable, attainable, and you're not here. Execute these 1,000 pages worth of execute everything in this plan, and in 30 years you're going to be okay. See you later. No. Like you said, a 1-page financial plan taking from Carl Richards' book, right?
Yeah.
I've always said my best financial plans have been on a legal pad or sometimes on the back of a napkin at a lunch meeting or something like that.
And they may not even be written down.
Right.
Okay. It may be something as simple as like, listen, there is nothing bigger priority in your plan right now than getting a will. Like, I'm going to make sure you get an appointment with an attorney, and that is going to be our number one goal for the next 3 months.
Yeah.
Like, that in a nutshell is all the financial planning, 1,000 pages that you could come up with, Monte Carlo simulations, all that nonsense may not matter if they can't have a solid, actionable item list to go out and take care of.
So I would put it this way: when I meet with folks, when you meet with folks, we have an agenda. That's, I mean, a document. The agenda.
We also have agendas.
we run off of an agenda, right? And we encourage our clients to participate in the meetings, right? So that you can walk through the agenda, see where we're going next, follow along. Mm-hmm. And behind that, we always have a to-do list, right? Yes. Which has advisor, right? Mm-hmm. Here's my to-do list. Client, here's my to-do list, right? And I try to, I can't say that I always stick to this, but I try to keep it to 3 things or less for my clients, because look, let's be honest, how much you walk out of the appointment, right? Mm-hmm. We sit down, we review your financial picture, we review changes in your life, income needs, all that kind of stuff, right? And then you walk out of here and you go, well, that was great. I feel like that really helped. Right. And then you get back on with your life.
Yep.
Right. And then next thing you know, it's time to meet with Jason or Caleb again, right? Absolutely. How much are you going to really be able to accomplish between, annual reviews or semi-annual reviews? We try to keep it short and sweet. You walk out of here with 3 things to do. You think, okay, I can get this done between now and the next time I get together with my advisor. When you walk out with 100 things to do, what would you do, Jason? Would you start chipping away at it, or would you just say, look, if I can't get this done, I'm not going to do any of it, right?
Yeah, and that is almost, human nature.
So small bites.
Yeah, exactly. And moving to the next point, which I think is really important, is you create this 1,000-page document, and then 3 months from that point, something changes.
Which will happen.
It will happen. Yeah. And not just that, like, you will change.
Yeah.
Like, if you asked me 10 years ago, what does retirement look like to you? It would have been totally different than the view that I have today.
Yeah.
With experience, watching others, observe what they're doing. The reality is it has to be flexible and ongoing. And I like to use as you may have seen on TV, the Ronco food dehydrator line, which is you can't set it and it.
Yeah.
Okay. You cannot. And this is a living, breathing,
you realize we're going to have
to
pay royalties for what you just said.
Crap. No, you just can't. You can't set it and never look at it again.
Right.
I think this is one thing that a lot of times is just forgotten about. Is let's say you're 59 and you're nearing retirement, you're going to have these thresholds that are going to come up. And you hear me preach all the time.
Life events. Life insurance industry says.
Oh, gosh. So these events are going to happen. They're going to happen no matter what. And they're usually at predictable ages, right? Uh-huh. So 62, you need to consider Social Security. 59 and a half, you can take money out of your IRA. 65, Medicare, Social Security, all those things.
50 catch-up contributions. Right. Yeah, we can go on forever.
Exactly. So you hear me preach about it, and it probably gets old, but I talk about a financial planning cadence, okay? A cadence that is just like, this is expected. We know we're going to do these things on an annual basis. Mm-hmm. And usually we're picking up the changes that somebody is experiencing. So to set it and forget it is kind of like malpractice, in my opinion. I mean, it's really unfortunate, though, the number of people that come in here and like, I haven't seen my advisor in like 15 years. Like, it's crazy.
Yeah. Well, I think, I'll kind of go back to, the bite-sized chunks that we talked about and say, look, if you walk out of here with 3 reasonable actions, right, you're going to get it done. You're going to make progress. Not only are you going to make progress, but you're going to feel like you're making progress. And the parallel that I draw here is we talk about it a lot because we're a finance podcast, but Dave Ramsey, right?
Sure.
His goal is to get people out of debt so they can live like no other now, so they can live and give like no other down the road, right?
Whatever.
Okay, good mission. Good mission, right? So Dave doesn't say, all right, here's the 100 things you got to do to get out of debt, stupid.
Right.
And also to, be charitable and all these other things, right? It's okay, baby step 1, right?
Right.
So small, actionable items. And what the magic in that system is, you make progress pretty quick.
And you need to, because you need that success. You need to go to the end zone, spike the ball. and then
line
back up. Yeah, you do. And so, and that was really our third point. Like, this is going to create a ton of work, and you must set those priorities.
Mm-hmm.
And so a good advisor is there to help you set those. And you may naturally know them, but sometimes, like, I just so you know, like, one of my advisors, okay, an attorney,
mm-hmm.
came to me and kind of sideswiped me and said, "Hey, your son's going to be 18 years old. You should get a power of attorney for him for healthcare reasons." And I'm like, "Oh my gosh."
Yeah.
I'd never even thought about that. And
no, that's not what you think about when your son's turning 18.
No, I'm thinking about, holy crap, my son's 18. How did that happen?
Get him out of my house.
Yeah. So, he still lives with us. He's a senior in high school. We gotta have that, because God forbid something happens.
Mm-hmm.
We would know nothing about him.
Yeah.
So that would be a good example of that is an urgent priority. He turns 18 in 2 weeks.
So, Jason, this wasn't laid out for you in a plan 5 years ago that at this age we're going to do this, then we're going to do this, then we're going to do this, and the market's probably going to do this in the meantime.
No.
And so we're going to look at that's the issue that I have with these big complex financial plans. Let's be honest, most financial advisors, honestly, are plugging information into a program. It's spitting out a bunch of pages in a big document,
mm-hmm.
and most of those pages, financial advisors are going to look at and go, I don't know, what do the numbers look like? What's my probability of success here, right?
Yeah, so what we're going to do, like, again, we're not dismissing the fact that software is, like, part of it.
No, absolutely not.
But we use it to double check our, like, I guess our assumptions, things that we want to make sure that, okay, if I tell you as a client, you're going to have enough money to survive, ups and downs in the market, I better have done some Monte Carlo simulations.
Well, sure.
Okay. Like, take all possible market scenarios,
like this one,
a lot of market scenarios, test it, good times, bad times, really, really good times, really, really bad times. Can we survive through all of this?
Mm-hmm.
And if the answer is a probability that's high enough, then great. But I'm not going to sit there in a meeting and bore the client with how I did 25,000 Monte Carlo simulations and the probabilities are X, Y, and Z. They don't care. They want to know that they're going to be okay.
It's funny that you say that, because what it all boils down to, if they're still with you at the end of this long document, is, okay, so it says I've got a 78% chance of meeting my goals, right?
Well, what the heck does that mean?
Well, okay, so but that's what we're lasering in on, right? Okay, yeah, I see this big stack of papers. What am I going to be all right?
Right.
We can do that stuff behind the scenes, but again, like the point I was making was that most advisors don't know how to read through a financial plan and honestly get to the point of delivering a plan and going through all these pages and saying, well, this is this is why this. You think clients are going to hang out there with you? You're listening to this right now. Ask yourself, would you sit through, and we keep saying 1,000 pages, but quite honestly, would you sit through a 52-page presentation?
And I would say, even if we just look at one area of financial planning, let's say it's retirement, probably the most common one, right? We look through that, it's probably going to be 20 pages spit out of software that's like trying to predict where your income can be. And again, million different kinds of scenarios that can be factored in, but your advisor has to be a professional and be able to actually filter it down to something that applies to you. And you and I know, like, in our area, we've got a bunch of old German, like good, solid heritage that is like super conservative, and they manage money different than somebody that might be in Columbus, Ohio, let's just say.
We fear change.
Yeah, exactly. So, it's good and it's bad. Sometimes we have to encourage people to spend. And sometimes we don't. So again, it's unique. But I think probably one of the biggest annoyances that I see out there is, and I've heard it, they refer to kind of what we do as we're investment guys.
Yeah. And
that financial planning is a waste of time.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. That is like so painful to me. Because investments don't matter if you don't have a plan.
Right.
Like, what's it for?
Yeah, it's like Mike Tyson once said, everyone's got a plan until you get punched in the mouth, right?
We've been experiencing the punching.
We've been getting punched in the mouth. Well, Jason, I think that, so I guess what is a financial plan and what isn't a financial plan? You might be able to plug all the information into the software, get the probability and the Monte Carlo simulations that you want that are favorable, whatever. But if it's not applicable,
right?
If it's not something that, and this is a book I'd recommend anybody to read, The One-Page Financial Plan by Carl Richards.
Easy read too.
And he kind of, it flies in the face of what our industry has pushed, and quite frankly, the insurance industry has pushed this. And you can't see it. I'm air quoting financial plans, right?
Right.
Because it's a tool to sell something in a lot of cases. Now, that doesn't mean financial planning is bad. We do financial planning, but his whole point in that book is if you can't funnel it all down to one page of here are the action items, here are the things, we're going to be okay if we do this, this, and this, right? Then it's not an effective plan.
Right.
And if you walk out of my office and you can't accurately say, this is my plan, this is what I'm doing, and why, then it's not a good plan. It's not an effective plan. And guess what the probability of it working is? Probably zero.
Yeah, so you're basically saying that the 1,000-page financial plan is probably not a financial plan.
I think there's tons of great information in there.
Yeah.
And like you said, that could be used to corroborate your theory or your preconceived thoughts but I'm telling you, I guess in our case, most of the time the legal pad financial plan that we whip out for a client while we're talking and going through things, we're going to those Monte Carlo simulations and other things to justify our thinking. Does this make sense?
Right. I've got Excel spreadsheets to look at income levels and how much distributions we can take. And one of the things that I like so much about, even like the Dave Ramsey plan, just the simplicity of like, say 15%, ignore the matches, ignore all the not, just say 15%. If you do that,
you know why?
You're going to be okay.
Yeah. Because when you're saving 15% and you have no debt in the world, not a lot of Monte Carlo simulations that are going to show you this ain't going to work.
Right.
It's just practical common sense, and most of it is.
Right. Now, if you are an engineer, God bless you, I love you, but you're a nerd and you need all those
love
numbers.
nerds.
We do that too. Okay. So if that's what it takes for you,
call Jason
to believe and I am kind of that guy. So if that's what it takes for you to believe the plan, then fine. So financial plan.
But you're going to break it one way. You are going to find a way to break it because that's what your brain is programmed to do.
Exactly. So, but the reality is I think what we're agreeing on here, right?
Yeah.
Is a real financial plan is all about priorities and action items.
Sure. And simple.
And that is probably the plan.
Simplify.
Right.
Yeah.
Gosh, it's just why does our industry is so perverted sometimes,
we have a tendency to, and this is, so now it's kind of an aside here, but I think that we have a tendency to overcomplicate things. And let's be real. There are people out there who will, if I can overcomplicate things, if I confuse you enough and show you how smart I am, then maybe you'll feel like you can't do it without me. I tell people all the time, look, if you sit down with me and you don't learn something, I haven't done my job. I would generally say, look, if I can figure this out, you can figure this out.
Yeah.
But what it all boils down to is you don't want to be your financial advisor, right?
Right. You
do what you're good at.
You really do.
Right.
So 90% of this is behaviors. 10% had knowledge. Get on a plan, look at the actions, make sure you're doing them, and revisit it. Make some new ones.
Yeah.
It's awesome. I mean, this will help you feel like you've got this really under control, which is ultimately, we want you guys to feel confident when you're making decisions when it comes to your finances. And one good decision we made today that isn't related to finances, smoked old fashions.
Oh yeah. Great decision.
Yeah. We should do that more often.
We should. Hey, I'm gonna summarize this with a financial plan. If it is a 50+ page document that's delivered, it costs you an arm and a leg and ends up with an insurance sales pitch, be careful. A financial plan is not a document. It's a living and breathing thing, and it changes.
Don't buy that stuff.
If you're feeling like you're being sold, yeah.
Run for the hills.
So, all right. Well, thanks for having a drink with us this week, folks. It's time to close out the tab. If you have a question or a topic you want addressed on the Old Fashioned Finance podcast, be sure to email us at podcast@bluejfg.com. We'd love to hear from you. Don't forget to share the show with someone you love or just someone who needs a little money muddling themselves. You can stay up to date with the latest action by following us on Facebook. Old Fashioned Finance is brought to you by Blue Jay Financial Group. That's bluejfg.com and produced by Podastery Studios. We've been your hosts, Caleb and Jason. Cheers.
Yeah. That's good.
Was good. You want another? Want to try cherry?
I don't think I should.
Blue Jay Financial Group, LLC. Blue Jay is a registered investment advisor registered with the state of Ohio. Registration does not imply a certain level of skill or training. The presence of this advertisement on this podcast shall not be directly or indirectly interpreted as a solicitation of investment advisory services to persons of another jurisdiction unless otherwise permitted by statute. Follow-up or individualized responses to a consumer in a particular state by Blue Jay and the rendering of personalized investment advice for compensation shall not be made without first complying with jurisdiction requirements or pursuant an applicable state exemption. All verbal and written consent on this presentation is for information purposes only. Opinions expressed herein are solely those of Blue Jay unless otherwise specifically cited. Material presented is believed to be from reliable sources, and no representations are made by our firm as to other parties' informational accuracy or completeness. All information or ideas provided should be discussed in detail with an advisor, accountant, or legal counsel prior to implementation.